Hello once again. Welcome to Rwanda Bio TV. Now we are going to talk about on the formation of baby from the date of conception to the date of delivery. This process happens at all that time is called fetal development. Fetal development is an orderly and intricate process. It begins before you even know you are pregnant and ends with the birth of your baby. Between conception and delivery, there are many detailed steps that have to occur. Yes. Within 24 hours after fertilization, the egg that will become your baby rapidly divides into many cells. By the 9th week of pregnancy, the embryo develops into a fetus. There are about 40 weeks to a typical pregnancy. These weeks are divided into 3 trimesters. We are going to go through or to overview on those or 3 trimesters. The commonly asked question is this: what are the 3 stages of fetal development called? As we talked above, fetal development is an orderly and intricate process. And we saw how it begins. It begins at the date of fertilization to the date of delivery. So, the 3 stages of fetal development are the following. The first one is germinal stage. This germinal stage is the first stage that happens at that date of conception. The second one is embryonic stage, and the third is called fetal stage. Means there are 3 trimesters. The first one, the second, and the third. Most people don't talk about their pregnancy in terms, but it can be helpful to know. Let's see the first stage or germinal stage. The germinal stage is the shortest stage of fetal development. Is the one which is short. It begins at conception when a sperm and the egg join in your fallopian tube when fertilization occurs. Yes. The sperm fertilizes the egg and creates a zygote. When a sperm fertilizes the egg, it creates what we call zygote. The zygote begins its journey down to your uterus over the course of about 1 week. Yes, zygote begins its journey down to uterus over the course of about 1 week. During this journey, the zygotes divide many times. Eventually creating two separate structures. One structure eventually becomes the embryo, and later the fetus, and the other becomes the placenta. Cell division continues at a rapid pace. Eventually, the zygote turns into a blastocyst. The blastocyst arrives at your uterus and plants into your uterine lining. If implantation is successful, your body immediately begins producing hormone to support a pregnancy. This also stops your menstruation period at this stage. This stage called germinal stage. This stops your menstruation or menstrual period. Let's see what happened on the second stage. We saw that the second stage is called embryonic stage. The embryonic stage lasts from about the 3rd week of pregnancy until the end of 8th week of pregnancy. It begins from 3rd week of pregnancy and end of 8th week of pregnancy. The blastocyst begins to take on distinct human characteristics. It's now called an embryo. Structures and organs like the neural tube, which later become the brain and spinal cord, are formed. At this stage, structures or organs like neural tube, which later becomes the brain and spinal cord, began to develop. Also, head, eyes, mouth, and limbs began to form. The cells that will form the fetal heart begin to cluster around 5 to 6 weeks and can pass. The parts that will become arms and legs also form around the 6th week. By the end of the 8th week, most of the embryo's organs and systems take shape. For a lot of people, this is the point in pregnancy where morning sickness begins. Yes, by the end of 8th week, most of the embryo's organs and systems take shape. This is the stage where a lot of people began to point a point of pregnancy where morning sickness begins. It was the embryonic stage. Let's see the 3rd stage, the fetal stage. Fetal stage of development begins around the 9th week and lasts until birth. It begins by 9th week to the date of birth, to the date of delivery. This is when the embryo officially turns into a fetus. The fetus gets its assigned sex. The fetus gets its assigned sex around the 9th week of pregnancy, although your healthcare provider can't detect it on ultrasound yet. When healthcare provider conduct ultrasound yet, they can't see sex. Yes, they can't detect at the weeks 9. The fetus major organs and body systems continue to grow and mature. Things like fingernails, eyelashes, and hair also grow. At this time, the fetus is able to move its limbs, although you may not feel it until 20 weeks of pregnancy. The majority of growth in both weight and length happens in fetal stage. In fetal stage, the majority of growth in both weight and length happens at this stage. When does pregnancy begin? When does pregnancy start? The start of pregnancy is actually the first day of your last menstrual period, LMP. The start of pregnancy is actually the first day of your last menstruation period. LMP is last menstrual period. This is the gestational age of the fetus. It's about 2 weeks ahead of when conception actually occurs. Though it may seem strange, the date of first day of your last period will be an important date when determining your due date of pregnancy. Your healthcare provider will ask you about this date and will use it to figure out how far along you are in your pregnancy. And ask the question, how does conception work? Each month, your body goes through a reproductive cycle that can end in one of 2 ways. You will either have a menstrual period or become pregnant. This cycle is continuously happening during your reproductive years, from starting your period to menopause around age of 50. In a cycle that ends with pregnancy, there are several steps. First, a group of eggs called oocyte gets ready to leave your ovary for ovulation. Ovulation means release of the egg. The egg develops in small fluid-filled cysts called follicles. Follicles are the egg developed in small fluid-filled cysts. Think of these follicles as small containers for each immature egg. Out of this group of eggs, one will become mature and continue through the cycle. The mature follicle now opens and releases the egg from your ovary. This is called ovulation. The mature follicle now opens and releases the egg from your ovary. That is ovulation. After ovulation, the opened follicle develop into a structure called the corpus luteum. This release the hormones progesterone and estrogen. Importance of progesterone and estrogen. Progesterone helps prepare your uterine lining for pregnancy. If you don't become pregnant during a cycle, this lining is what your body shed during your period. If a sperm fertilizes the egg, conception occurs and the fertilized egg begins its journey to your uterus where it will be implanted. Another common asked question: how long is pregnancy? How long is a pregnancy? Traditionally, we think of pregnancy as a 9-month process, as faking. However, this is not always the case. A full-term pregnancy is for 40 weeks or 280 days, depending on what months you are pregnant during. Some are shorter and some longer. And what week you deliver. You could be pregnant for 8, 9 months or 10 months. This is completely normal and healthy. Can be 8, can be 9 or 10. Possible. Let's see stages of growth month by month in pregnancy. Month by month, week by weeks, and so on. The fetus will change a lot throughout a typical pregnancy. This time is divided into 3 stages called trimesters. Each trimester is a set of about 3 months. Your healthcare provider will probably talk to you about fetal development in terms of weeks. So, if you are 3 months pregnant, you are about 12 weeks. You will see distinct changes in the fetus and yourself during each trimester of pregnancy. Let's see the first trimester. The first trimester will span from conception to 12 weeks. This is generally the first 3 months of pregnancy. During this trimester, the fertilized egg will change from a small grouping of cells to a fetus that begins to have human features. The first trimester is exciting, but also when most people develop unpleasant symptoms like morning sickness and fatigue. Month 1. Week 1 through 4. Although it's strange, the first 2 weeks of pregnancy are a getting ready period. Your body slowly releases more hormones and your uterus prepare for a potential pregnancy. At the end of the 2nd week, your ovary release an egg. Ovulation. If sperm meets an egg just after ovulation, the process to pregnancy continues. This is what happened from week 1 to 2. Week 3. Fertilization occurs during the third week. A sperm and egg join and create what we call a zygote. Week 4. The thin bundle of cells turns into a blastocyst and implants into a uterine lining. The beginning of what will become the placenta forms. A watertight sac forms around the blastocyst. This is the amniotic sac and it provides cushioning to a fetus during pregnancy. By the end of the 4th week, the blastocyst is about 2 millimeters long. The size is compared to the pop seed. Let's see what happened on the week 2. Month 2. Week 5 through 8. From week 5 through week 8. The second month of pregnancy is when most people realize they are pregnant. Pregnancy hormones go into overdrive, and by about the 5th week, an at-home pregnancy test will show us positive. When you do a home pregnancy test, you saw that you are pregnant at 5th week. This is when many people begin to feel symptoms of pregnancy. Week 5. The neural tube began to develop. Brain, spinal cord, and other neural tissue of central nervous system forms. The thin heart tube will pass 110 times a minute by the end of 5th week. Let's see what happened on week 6. Thin buds that become arms and legs also develop. Blood cells are taking shape and saturation will begin. Structures that will become the ears, eyes, and mouth take form. Your healthcare provider or at any hospital, at any polyclinics can probably detect pulses in clusters of cells that will form the heart on a vaginal ultrasound. They can take vaginal and test the pulses of cells that will form on the heart of your baby. Week 7. Bones begin replacing soft cartilage and genitals begin to form. The embryo's head is large in proportion to the rest of its body. Some people think the embryo resembles a small tadpole or a seahorse due to its prominent tails, which becomes legs and a large head. Week 8. All of major organs and body systems are developing. The embryo has web-like hands and feet. Eyes become visible and ears begin to form. The umbilical cord is fully developed and helps to transport oxygen and blood to the embryo. After the 8th week, Healthcare providers refer to the embryo as a fetus. It will remain a fetus until birth. By the end of the second month, the fetus is about 0.5 to 1 inch in long, about the size of bean. Let's see what happened on month 3 during fetal development, weeks 9 through 12. The third month of pregnancy is when an embryo becomes a fetus. It's a period of rapid growth and development. The fetus develops distinct facial features such as limbs, organs, bones, and muscles. By the end of the 12th week, the fetus has an assigned sex, but it won't be visible on ultrasound for several more weeks. Week 9. The beginning of teeth and taste buds are forming. Its muscles are forming and its body shape take on more of human appearance. Yes, its muscles are forming and its body shape take on more of a human appearance. But its head is still 50% of its length. Your provider may be able to hear its heartbeat with a Doppler ultrasound. Week 10. The arms, hands, fingers, feet, and toes are full formed. No more webbed fingers. The fingernails and toenails are beginning to develop, and the external ears form. The external genitals also began to form, but it's too soon to see them on a ultrasound. Week 11. The fetus is starting to explore a bit by doing things like opening and closing its fists and mouth. Its knees, elbows, and ankles are working, but it's too soon to feel any kicks inside the womb. The bones are hardening, but its skin is still see-through. Facial features are more prominent. Week 12. All the organs, limbs, bones, and muscles are present and will continue to develop in order to become full functioning. The circulatory system, the digestive system, and the urinary systems are also working, and the liver produces bile. The fetus is drinking and peeing amniotic fluid. Since the most critical development has taken place, your chance of your miscarriage drops considerably after 12 weeks, the end of the first trimester. Most people begin feeling some relief from morning sickness now. Until the end. At the end of the third month, the fetus is about 2.5 to 3 inches long, about the size of a plum. Second trimester. The second trimester of pregnancy is often thought of as the best part of experience. By this time, any morning sickness is probably gone, and the discomfort of early pregnancy has faded. You may also start to feel movement as the fetus flips and turns in your uterus. During this trimester, many people find out about the fetus's assigned sex. This is typically done during anatomy scan. By doing anatomy scan, they can check sex. Any ultrasound that check physical development at around 20 weeks. Month 4, weeks 13 through week 16. Many people begin showing signs of being pregnant at this point in pregnancy. Especially if you have been pregnant before, your pregnancy care provider can hear the fetal heartbeat loud and clear on a Doppler ultrasound. The fetus can even suck its thumb, yawn, stretch, and make faces. Yes, the fetus can even suck its thumb, can yawn, can stretches, and can make faces. Week 13, vocal cords form and the fetus' large head begin to grow proportionate to its body. Week 14, the fetus' skin starts to thicken and the fine hair begins to grow. It can start bringing its fingers to its mouth and turn its head. External genitals are fully developed and fingerprints begin to deform. Week 15. Some organs like intestines and ears are moving to their permanent location. The fetus still uses amniotic fluid to practice breathing, but its lungs are beginning to develop. The fetus begins to make more purposeful movements like sucking thumb or smiling. Week 16. The fetus has lips and its ears are developed enough that it can hear you talk. They can hear you while you are talking. Even though its eyes are closed, the fetus can react to light by turning away from it. By the end of the 4th month, the fetus is about 5 inches long and weighs about 4 ounces. For reference, that's about as big as, take an example of an avocado. Month 5, week 17 through 20. By the end of 15 months of pregnancy, most people begin to feel the fetus moving around. The first movements are called quickening and can feel like a flutter. If your pregnancy has been healthy to this point, You will finally get your first ultrasound. You may even get to find out the fetus's assigned sex at the week of 50. Week 17. The fetus still has thin skin, but will start to put on fat. Its skin is covered with a whitish coating called vernix. This vernix is cheesy substance is thought to protect the fetal skin from long-term exposure to amniotic fluid. Week 18. The fetus is covered in lanugo. Lanugo is a pitch fuzz-like hair. It helps to keep the fetus warm and provides another layer of protection. The fetus may have a sleep-wake cycle, and loud noises may wake the fetus if it's asleep. Week 19. The fetus is getting stronger, and most people begin to feel kicks and pushes. The fetus also has its own unique set of fingerprints and can hiccup. Week 20. The fetus nails grow towards the end of its fingers. The area of the brain responsible for its 5 senses begin to develop. By the end of 5th month, the fetus is about 9 to 10 inches long and weighs about 1 pound. Month 6, week 21 through 24. If you could look inside your uterus right now, you would see that the fetus skin is reddish in color. Wrinkles and veins are visible through translucent skin. In the 6th month of pregnancy, its eyelids begin to part, and you may notice regular jerk movements. The fetus responds to sounds by moving or increasing its pulse. Week 21. You will feel limb movements are coordinated and frequent. The fetus has a bone marrow that helps it produce blood cells. Week 22. The fetus will feel the fetus's grasp getting stronger, and it can touch its ears and the umbilical cord. It can hear your heartbeat, your stomach rumble, and breathing. Week 23. If born prematurely, the fetus may survive. At week 23, if there is a born premature, the fetus will survive at 23rd week with intensive care. It will begin rapidly adding fat to its body. Week 24. The fetus's lungs are fully developed, but not well enough to work outside your uterus. By the end of 6th month, the fetus is about 12 inches long and weighs about 2 pounds. Month 7, weeks 25 through 28. The fetuses continue to be mature and develop reserves of body fat. The fetuses change position frequently and respond to stimuli, including sound, pain, and light. The amniotic fluid begins to diminish at month 7. Week 25. More body fat make the fetus's skin less wrinkled and plumper. Its nervous system is quickly maturing. Week 26. The fetuses make melanin. Melanin, we know that is a substance that gives skin and eyes their color. The fetus's lungs start to make surfactant. Surfactant is a substance that helps it breathe after birth. Week 27. The fetus can open its eyes and blink. It also has eyelashes. Week 28. The fetuses may begin turning head down in your uterus as it gets ready for birth. At the end of the 7th month, the fetus is about 14 to 15 inches long and weight between 2 and 3 pounds. Third trimester. Let's see what happened in the third trimester. On the third trimester, this is the final part of your pregnancy. You may be tempted to start counting down the day to your due date and hope that it comes early. But each week of this final stage of development helps the fetus prepare for birth. Throughout the third trimester, the fetus gains weight quickly, adding a body fat that will help after birth. Your healthcare provider will monitor you closely as you approach your due date. You will visit your healthcare provider bi-weekly, 2 by weeks, and then week. Make sure to ask your provider any question you have about labor and delivery. Month 8, weeks 29 through 32. The fetus continues to mature and they develop reserves of body fat. The brain develops most rapidly during this time. The fetus can see and hear most stimuli. Most internal systems are well developed, but the lungs may still be immature. Week 29, you may notice the kicks. You will feel the kicks and the jabs feel more like a pox now that the fetus is getting cramped in the amniotic sac. Week 30. The fetus can control its own body heat. Its brain is maturing and grows rapidly. Week 31. The fetus can process more information and stimuli pass. You can probably notice more distinct patterns in when it's awake and it's when it's asleep. When awake, you feel it. When asleep, you feel it. Week 32. The fetus's skin isn't translucent anymore, other than the lungs and brain. Most other organs are well formed and ready for birth. Fetus is about 17 to 18 inches long and weight as much as 5 pounds. Month 9, week 33 through 36. During this stage, the fetus continues to grow and mature. The lungs are closer to being fully developed at this point in pregnancy. The 9th month is mostly about putting the finishing touch on growth and brain development. Week 33. The fetus's bones are hardening, with exception of its brain, which needs to be soft to descend the birth canal. Week 34. The vernix that protects the fetus skin starts to get thicker. Week 39. The fetus's brain continues to grow, but still only weighs 2/3 of what it should do at birth. Week 36. The fetus's roots is lanugo and it has hair on its head only. The fetus is about 17 to 19 inches long and weight from 6 to 7 pounds. Month 10. week 37 through 40. In this final month, you could go into labor at any time. At this point, the fetus position may have changed to prepare for birth. Ideally, it's head down in your uterus. You may feel very uncomfortable in this final stretch of time as your fetus drops down into your pelvis and prepare for birth. Your provider may encourage you to perform kick counts, which is a way to track how much the fetus moves. Week 37. The fetus two nails reach the end of its tools. You may start to feel the fetus drop into your pelvis. Week 38. The fetus is packing on 0.5 pounds per week to get it to its final size. Week 39. The fetus is full term and ready to meet the world. Week 40. It's your due date week. Can your pregnancy healthcare provider, if you notice any sign of labor, call your pregnancy care provider if you notice any sign of labor. The fetus is about 18 to 20 inches long and weight about 7 to 9 pounds. Yes. Thank you very much for following all those happen during at the date of conception to the date of delivery. You will follow another part 2 on the next time that concern to the common asked question on this. Follow Rwanda Bio TV to know more about our health. Thank you very much. See you soon.